What's up, guys? We are back with another Marvel Legends Age of Apocalypse Sugar Man Wave figure. Taking a look at one of the bad guys this time around, we have got Dark Beast. A lot of parts reuse here, but there's a lot of cool stuff going on with this figure just based on his looks alone. So I'm really excited to dig into this guy because we all know that Beast was a pretty solid figure, so this guy's got to be as well, right? So we've got him here in our standard Legends packaging, figure in the window. You've got some artwork running down the spine showcasing Beast and Apocalypse, and then the back of the box has a product shot, a bio, and a lineup for the wave. So let's do it. Let's pull him out and take a look. And here he is out of the package, our Dark Beast figure. So, you know, like I said, this guy is a lot of familiar territory because he, of course, reuses a lot of parts from Beast. That is not in and of itself a negative by any means. It's just the state of things. This guy does have one big difference, though, and of course, it is the head sculpt. There are a few other things, obviously, but that's the big one. It's what sets them very much apart in terms of their overall design as far as the figure goes, and it does change up a little bit as far as posing on this guy. So let's see what he can do, see how he moves around. You've got a really big noggin here that can go up about that far, and then he goes down really good. And this is the one area that I find to be a little bit of a pain point just in terms of posing, because he cannot look up as far as the regular Beast, and that really inhibits your ability to do a really low crouch pose. Like I really like to do that with the regular Beast. I was hoping I'd be able to do something like that with this figure, and you can somewhat achieve it, but I wouldn't say you can do it as easily. So it's not the biggest thing in the world, but it's a thing. You've got full rotation, but you do have to watch the hair. It's going to hit the shoulders. So you've got that. The arms go out. They rotate all the way around. You do have your really nicely done butterfly joint there. We've got bicep swivel. We've got double jointed elbows, hinges, and rotation at those wrists. We've got the ever fantastic ab crunch with the diaphragm cut system here. So you've got backwards that far, forwards that far, tilt side to side, and then he rotates at the torso. Big fan of this joint system. I love this combination. I think it's the best option in most cases. Legs go out about that far. They kick forward pretty much all the way, and if you twist them a little bit at the hips, they're going to go up even further. They go backwards. You've got your thigh cut. We've got double jointed knees. There does look to be a boot cut here, but I don't know that it's actually intended. It could be just a cut in terms of how things are assembled, because neither want to move, and I've even heated them up and they don't really want to move. So mine don't move. I'm going to break it on camera probably. We've got a rocker, and then we've got hinges. Beast doesn't have a boot cut on the regular figure either, but this guy is wearing pants, so it does change it up, and it does introduce a cut there, but it doesn't really seem to do anything. So he does move around really well. I mean, don't get me wrong, he moves just as well as the regular Beast. The only real difference is in how far you can kick that head backwards or up. Now, as far as the aesthetics goes, of course, this is a lot of familiar territory, but that's not a bad thing because, well, for the most part, I was really happy with that original Beast figure, and a lot of that translates to more of the same here. He does have the Beast furry upper body and arms. You do have a different crotch piece. We've got different hips, thighs, and then you've got the shin piece here, which is, this is basically a cut piece. It's a retool of the Beast shins with the actual pants piece added. Then you've got the Beast feet and the Beast hands there. And the shading on this guy is not nearly as, I would say, heavy-handed as the regular Beast was. That guy has a lot of dark shading on top of that really bright blue. He does have some, but it works a little bit better. It contours some of the body a little bit better because it's already a dark color. Well, it's a darkish color. It's not dark, dark gray, but it's definitely, you know, not bright. So you've got more dark shading on the chest and on the shoulders, some on the wrist, and then a little bit on the top of the hands. Things like that. It just brings out the sculpt a little bit. It helps kind of, again, contour the figure and bring out some of that sculpt when it comes to the furry areas. And in a general sense, I mean, I just really like it. I'm a big fan of that body, and it works really well here again because, well, it's pretty much the same thing. Where he does differ, of course, is the fact we've got these pants. They are done up in that kind of shiny, marbly metallic, which, frankly, I never can get enough of. I love that goofy plastic. So it works well. It's really lustrous. It shines really nicely. You know, new crotch, new hips, and then new legs for this guy. And it works really well. It just changes him up enough that you know that, yes, this is not exactly the same character. It's not the same figure. There is enough new stuff to this body that it stands apart from the regular Beast so that you know it's just not a straight palette swap. They did go and give you a little bit more for your money in terms of getting some actual new stuff when it comes to these pants. And I think it works really well. Everything's nicely sculpted. The paint is really nicely done. Again, I like the shading sculpting here better than on that original Beast. It just doesn't seem as heavy-handed. But really, I mean, the big star of the show when it comes to new stuff and just different stuff is, like I said before, it's the head sculpt. And I'm pretty happy with just about everything going on up here, honestly. As far as a looks and aesthetic perspective, sculpt, paint, I think they did a great job. There's really not a lot to talk about negative here. It's basically, it looks very much like the comic, and it looks like the source material, and it looks like it should. And that's what I want when it comes to my action figures. I want them to look correct, and I'm really happy with the way this turned out. I dig that really devious and evil smile on his face, the big, mutton chops and the beard and the bushy eyebrows and this massive, massive head of hair. I mean, it does hinder his articulation when it comes to kicking that head back. But at the same time, it looks that way because it's supposed to look that way, and they did a good job with its sculpt, with the paintwork, with the white in those teeth, the yellow in those eyes, and then the braids coming down, the earrings, all of it. All those little details are there, and they look fantastic. I'm really happy with this head kind of capping this figure off. And then, of course, we have to do a quick side-by-side comparison between our Dark Beast figure and our Beast figure. There's really not a lot to compare, really, because they are, of course, very similar, while at the same time being very distinct. But you can see, for maybe those that aren't familiar with this figure, you can see all the parts reusage. You can see the torso and the arms and a lot of the legs, the feet, the hands, stuff like that are reused here. And then you just, of course, have your different crotch piece, your different legs, and then, of course, the different head sculpt. So they are very similar while at the same time being very different. And speaking of similar, we do, of course, have some accessories, and these guys share the same kind of stuff. So they all come with 4 hands. You've got your open palm hand here, you've got your fist hand here, we've got a gripping hand, and then you've got a kind of splayed finger, slightly gripping, but sort of style pose hand. So he does come with the same stuff that this figure does. And the one thing that I kind of wish that they had done just as an extra thing or another little accessory that they could have thrown in, because we know we're getting that kind of more animated style cartoon Beast head in the Gray Beast figure, I wish they could have given us that head for the Blue Beast with this guy, kind of like a pack-in thing like they did with, like Kitty Pryde when they gave us the Onslaught head in that figure. They could have given us an extra little bonus piece with him. I kind of wish that happened, but at the same time, I'm not surprised it didn't happen. So as far as accessories goes, you got 2 extra hands for a total of 4. So, yeah, there's a lot to like about this figure, I suppose, under the right circumstances. If you're a fan of Age of Apocalypse, if you're a fan of Dark Beast, I think you're going to be really, really happy, honestly, because, well, I'm a fan of both, and I'm really digging this figure. It's built on a really solid foundation as far as the Beast body goes, and then you've got a really, really fantastic head sculpt that's capping it off to change him up just enough, of course, on top of that gray paint scheme. The only real negative, true negative about this figure for me, and it's not that big of a deal, really, is that I wish his head could go back a little bit further. I'd love to be able to get him into a more forward-facing deep crouch like you can do with the regular Beast. But at the end of the day, it's not a huge thing. He still looks fantastic, and you can get this guy into some really solid poses on his own. So that's going to do it for this look at the Marvel Legends Dark Beast figure. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And until next time.